The world continues to react this morning to the shock death of Alexei Navalny. Most, of course, are pointing the finger firmly at the Kremlin and Vladimir Putin. Joining me live is Professor of Political Science at Cypress College in Los Angeles, Peter Mathews. Peter, good morning our time to you. Awful news coming out of Russia with the death of Alexei Navalny.
Good morning, Tim. It really is awful news because he symbolized opposition to authoritarian regime, dictatorship. He wanted to bring in democracy and have more freedom. And a lot of people across Russia support that. And they've seen this as him dying in prison as very questionable. And it's a very tremendous setback, in a sense, to the people there that want more democracy, but also to the world as a whole. He was a symbol. So it's a tragedy.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, look, there's plenty happening in the US itself. Donald Trump, again in court, again, he's had a loss. What did you make of that huge, what was it, $500 million that he has to pay?
Tim, it's just incredible that this keeps going on. And this was for fraudulent asset evaluation, where he overvalued a lot of his assets in order to get loans at lower interest rates. And that was considered to be defrauding. And so the judgment was for $355 million from his own pocket alone. But on top of that, the interest that he'll be paying, another $100 million or so, in order to appeal the case, he has to go out and post bond or borrow the money. There's something else, Tim, I want to talk about. There's a danger that someone who is in a very high position of having classified information available to them, as the president will be, if he's elected, if this president's elected, if he has to go out and borrow money or do business deals to get that $300 or $400 million, plus don't forget the $83 million for the case against E.G. and Carroll is going to be awarded. That's a lot of money, as you said, $500 million or so. If he goes to someone to get that money or sets up a business with someone else, that could be a real conflict of interest and a national security risk if he has classified information available to him and he owes someone else, as a domestic, an American itself, or Americans who come up with the money for him or help him out with that money, or some other entities. It's the Emoluments Clause prohibits any foreign entities from being involved financially with the president in that sense, or giving any benefits. So there's a real conundrum here as to how is he going to pay for it, and will it jeopardize national security if he is elected?
Do you think it's going to start to take its toll? You work in this area your whole life, teaching students in the sphere of political science. Will it start taking its toll, some of this, the legal actions that are everywhere, like 91 felony charges for Donald Trump? Up to this point, it's given him a sugar hit at every corner, really.
It has with his own diehard supporters, but there are other voters who could have voted for him, who helped him put him over the top in 2016. Those voters are going to shrink from him if he gets convicted, especially of a felony. And the first trial is coming up, a criminal case, on March 25th. For the first time, we actually be in a court trial for on criminal charges. And this is unprecedented, Tim. It's going to take a toll to some extent, even for him to be in trial. But if he's convicted, then it's going to really make a difference, I would think, if he's convicted of one or more charges. He's got several charges. He had 2 civil cases awarded against him, and he got 4 criminal trials awaiting him on indictment. This is unprecedented, and I don't see how he can survive this unless, of course, the Democratic opponent in any way causes, makes an error. So it depends on that as far as the results of the election comes out in terms of November.
Yeah, well, the pressure on Joe Biden is there as well. Age is a massive factor, and he's actually gone to TikTok in a bid to appeal to younger voters.
Yes, indeed. I'm on TikTok because I'm on the media, but President Biden, for the first time, we had a president who's actually gone on TikTok, or has got an account now for his campaign, and he is trying to appeal to younger voters, and there are millions of them on that TikTok, as you know. And Taylor Swift was on TikTok for a long time. I think she may be temporarily not on there, but for certain, reasons of legality in terms of copyright, that type of thing. But she'll probably be back on there again. And Taylor Swift has a lot of influence among young people. And if she tells her followers to support Biden in the end, if she ends up endorsing him, that can make a huge difference. And I think that's why President Biden went on TikTok to start with. He has to reach those young people whom he's lost. He's lost them, many of them, especially in the state of Michigan, based on some of his policies in the Middle East.
Well, Taylor Swift is here in Australia at the moment, had another concert in Melbourne. She'll make her way to Sydney. I've seen nothing like it in my time when it comes to hysteria. People Like it's a bit like Willy Wonka and that last golden ticket. You know, people are just doing whatever they can to try and get a ticket to her concert. She is just extraordinary when it comes to popularity. Do you think that she will endorse Joe Biden?
That's a little tough to say at this point, Tim, but we'll know in a couple of months or less. And I think in the end, she may actually do it. But again, she's so popular. She's far more popular now than she was back in 2020, although she was popular then as well. When she did endorse him in 2020. I think it made a difference. So it's hard to say whether she'll do it or not. But I think if I had to make an educated guess, I think she probably will in the end. And that could give him a big boost. But it's phenomenal, isn't it? What she did in Australia, the concerts there, and all over the world when she has concerts. I mean, she pumps in millions of dollars in the local economies, not to mention the fun and pleasure she gives the audiences with her performances. And she is a person with a social conscience. She has spoken on public issues, on political issues, socially minded, and gives a lot of charity to people who are underprivileged and underfunded. She's quite an impressive human being in many ways, in my view.